Your new album, Sky Is Mine, has just come out. What is it about?
What is it about? I mean, I don't know if every artist that makes music has, you know, a thing that they are pursuing exactly. But I will say this, that throughout sort of sessions of writing and scribbling lyrics and trying phrases out, I'm sort of reminded constantly that I was sort of struggling, but found it each time to look at the sort of dark shit that we're sort of paddling through at the moment as a species, and remember that actually it's worth always pursuing you know, sort of sense of benevolence, that, you know, always to try and find the good in people and Mother Nature herself. And so I think themes like that creep up throughout the record. An idea of, you know, so I am quite a radio person, but I might do like news early in the morning, and everything is so ominous and horrific and sour and problematic, and yet, you know, what do we do about that? We can't all solve problems, you know, with our actions, because we may not know what the right course of action to take is, but you really do have to start with yourself and then the people closest to you. So looking for the best in someone else, being generous to someone else, and, you know, those ideas, that is the support structure that makes for sort of better community, doesn't it? And I think things like that throughout the year, and then they creep into lyrics and they end up in sort of half there in titles, and yeah, it's kind of there in a collection of songs, but it's never a prescribed theme. I don't think I've ever sat there and thought, what's this song going to be about then? It just doesn't really work like that. Also, I'm not that organised or disciplined, so I tend to kind of write to some of the music that's been sketched out. So when I'm thinking of melodies and words, I try and find a melody first, because I find that really securing and satisfying. So my initial response in terms of like language is to go and I sing nothing for a while except complete nonsense. And then you sort of pull words and tease words out of that phrasing, and sometimes it's like magic, it's like prophetic, you know, something emerges and then it kind of happens in your own life. Or words, you think you heard yourself say something, but you didn't really say anything, but it sounded like whatever, barbed wire or whatever, and you end up writing it down and then you rhyme with it, and it's like it's like you're looking at yourself in a mirror and kind of enacting with yourself, but you're not really there. Does that make sense? It probably doesn't make sense, but I read something that Leonard Cohen said, and I'm not going to quote him because I can't remember what it was, but it was that kind of a thing where some of what you write is intuitive and sort of nonsensical, and then because you love words and you love language, you sort of start to rhyme with it, even though it's not fully formed. So if you start just like teasing things out before they're fully formed, you have this quite like pure way of words and statements coming out. I think it's a sort of way of like scratching ideas out the back of your head without actually getting right in there. So yeah, there's not one singular theme, but I will say that there's a feeling of either we give up or we still look for that benevolent feeling that, you know, makes us realise that somewhere amongst us all we are good.
Do you have a favourite song on your new record?
Yeah, I like the track called Sea Power. I particularly like the verses. I just I feel like they were quite unadulterated. The words came quite quickly, and there's a sense there in the lyrics of sort of I sort of say, all my desires, they make me feel tired, and there's a sense of no more barbed wire, I say, and there's this idea of reducing boundaries between people and things, and actually sort of the idea of perhaps looking at life and people as more of a kind of, well, looking at life as more of a process of like unifying rather than separateness, and trying to fulfill just what you want just for yourself. Maybe actually tipping that on its head and maybe trying to lead a life where you sort of work with people, you know, work with a sort of more of a process of togetherness, and yeah. I'm rambling, aren't I? But yeah, it's good vibes, basically.
Sounds like an epic, like 25-minute track.
It's really not. In fact, I'm sorely regretting even entering that answer. But what I'm saying to you here is, it's just good vibes. It's good vibes. It's like, it sort of starts like a lullaby. And,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm into it. And there's other moments where you can't really listen to the songs for a while. You kind of cringe. You don't know for sure if it came out the way you meant it. But sometimes there are bits of songs where you just think, that just feels right. It feels kind of like home. It feels like what it felt like inside. So that's just a track that has a little bit of that in it.
I don't really know much yet. I know the single because I heard it quite a lot on Six, and now I know that it's like the opening track. And then I only started listening to it yesterday, the whole record. But I listened to it at home whilst like watching the cycling, kind of off on mute, and then the cycling went on mute. And then rode around on my bike quite a bit in the daytime, and then I was coming back from yoga, so it was like dusk, and that was quite fun. And then again today we listened to it in the studio while we were like ripping. And I'm going to have a bath tonight, so I'm not really doing anything.
Will you turn the lights down and have like candles near the bath?
Getting ready.
What style of yoga do you go to?
Last night it was Ashtanga, but the normal teacher was away. Mm-hmm. So I had like a cover teacher, and she was quite nervous. Oh. She was like really rushing. She was like, right, let's do a 5 count here, and you'd be like on your way. She'd be about 3, and she was like, right, next thing. Mm-hmm. And then when we were trying to hold some of the trickier poses like Navasana, she was like really shaking, almost like I was uncomfortable for her. But I chatted to her at the end. She seemed kind of fine, but she seemed under pressure because it was a new class.
Yeah, that doesn't really seem like a sort of yogic way of conveying the instructions, does it? But
especially with Ashtanga, which is like a pattern. It's like, right, you're going to take my class and do this, so don't worry about this. These are the things. These are the things to do.
Yeah, I mean, you could have your little notes out in front of you, and well. You spoke to her afterwards, and she probably felt great after that. Then she's probably talking to someone right now, saying, "Oh yeah, this cool guy came and told me that it was a good class, so now I feel much better about it."
Cool guy.
Part of the process.
I was listening to your mate Mark Riley, and you were I listened to an interview from like 2 years ago, and he'd been watching like Pete and the Pirates do busking. Like he was like, oh, did you see him up in Manx? We were like, no, I was too busy for that. But fast forward like 2 years, the video for Magenta is directed by the lead singer from Now Tellyman, who was in Pete and the Pirates.
Yeah, not the lead singer actually. Johnny is keyboards, I think. He's also a great drummer though as well. And he does a lot of their artwork and videos, we found out. Complete coincidence really. We were going to work with someone who then didn't have enough time and said, what about my housemate? Something as simple as that. And we spoke to Johnny, and turned up at this shoot. I didn't know that he was in Tellyman, so we had a good moment where he mentioned something about, and I did this video for Tellyman, or a couple of them, and myself and one of the other band members, Luke, went, I really like that band. And he was like, well, that's lucky because I'm in them. So yeah, it was just a very simple little coincidental kind of introduction. But yeah, really nice. He's really smart cookie, and really good to work with. I recommend him highly.